Welcome, everyone, to the November 24th, 2020 regular meeting of the San Mateo Planning Commission. If everyone will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mary, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Chair Mallory?
Present.
Vice Chair Maldonado?
Present.
Commissioner Ebnetter?
Here.
Commissioner Williams?
Present.
And Commissioner Etheridge is excused. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to our planning manager, Salish Mehra.
Thank you, Mary. Good evening, Chair Mallory, Vice Chair Maldonado, and planning commissioners. It's my great pleasure and honor to serve as your planning manager, your new planning manager. This is not only my first Planning Commission meeting tonight, but also Nora, who will be shadowing Mary. And Nora is our director's executive assistant. And she will be, she and I look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to read our meeting reminder. Due to the physical distancing protocols in place at this time, we continue to encourage public participation remotely. Information on how to provide public comment is explained at the bottom of the published agenda. There are two ways to participate. Join the Zoom meeting by clicking on the link at the top of the agenda. Use the Raise Your Hand button to be called on at the appropriate time. Phone-in participation can be done by calling 408-638-0968 with the conference ID number 822-9964-4987 and passcode 472739. When the item of interest is opened for consideration, press star 9 to raise your hand to be called on. When called upon, press star 6 to unmute. State your name and provide your comments. These options for public comment will remain available until I close the public comment period for that specific item. So our first order on the agenda is our consent calendar, which is the 2021 Planning Commission calendar. And who is speaking on the calendar tonight?
Chair
Salish?
Mallory, yeah,
yes.
Certainly. Our first item is, give me 1 second, is the proposed calendar, meeting calendar for the upcoming year. We ask that you review it if you haven't already. And if the commission has any conflicts, please reach out to Mary or myself, and we will work with you on either alternate dates or other arrangements.
Perfect. Thank you. I know I looked at it and I did not see any conflicts that glared at me. So do any of the other commissioners have any dates that jumped out as problems? Okay, great. I believe we would need then a motion to adopt the 2021 Planning Commission calendar.
I motion that we adopt the 2021 Planning Commission calendar as presented.
And is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mary, can we have a voice vote, please?
Yes. Chair Mallory?
Yes.
Chair Maldonado?
Yes.
I mean, Vice Chair Maldonado, sorry.
Yes.
Commissioner Ebnetter,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
okay, and Commissioner Etheridge is not present.
It's excused.
Yes.
Okay, we have that as passing 4-0. And we'll move on to our public comment period. During the public comment period, members of the public may speak on general items of interest within the Commission's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Each member of the public may speak for a maximum of 3 minutes, with a maximum of 15 minutes for the entire public comment period. The Commission shall not act on or discuss any matters raised during the public comment period, which are not on the agenda, but shall refer such matters to staff for review and or request such matters be placed on a future agenda. Mary, do we have any public that would wish to speak to a topic not on the agenda?
There are no public comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public comment period. Our next agenda item is Station Park Green RE4 SPAR modification. Julia Klein will be presenting on this topic.
Good evening, Commissioners. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. The item before you this evening is Planning Application 2020-061, and this is the modification to the Station Park Green Site Plan and Architectural Review application, and specifically it's focusing on residential building number 4. I wanted to provide a brief background for those that may be unfamiliar with this project. The first version of this project was originally approved by the City Council back in January 2011. At that time, there was a different property owner, and their vision for the project was slightly different than what you see before you today. In February 2015, Essex, the current property owner, was part of the submitted an application and was part of the group that proposed the current configuration. And in the next slide, we'll go ahead and show the current layout for the site. So that was back in 2015 where the formal modification was made. And then in May 2016, a series of construction permits were submitted to the city for phased construction. At this time, we are at the stage where the applicant is requesting design modifications. And then depending on if the project is approved, the modification is approved this evening, then the applicant would need to come back in and submit a building permit for revision to provide and show the work. As I mentioned earlier, this is a large development project. This is grouped into phases. First phases, there are 4, so MU1, Res 2, Res 3, and we're at the portion which is the Res 4. This is an overall development of about 12 acres. It was formerly retail. Some of you may recall it had a variety of uses, including Michael's and Kmart. As I mentioned, original approval was in January 2011. There was a planning application modification approved in 2015. The framework for the development has remained the same. It is still a mixed-use project with 599 residential units. There's a mix of office and commercial retail uses. Res 4 particularly is 5 stories. There is parking, which is on the interior of the building, so it's a wraparound. And overall, there is more than 2 acres of open space and pathways. Illustrated, generally the larger open space is shown here in the green. As I mentioned earlier, the construction is ongoing. The photos that you see here are the portions of the development that have been constructed and completed. As you recall from the staff report, during the construction of Res 4, the applicant notified the city in June 2020 that there are utilities underneath the underneath the public right-of-way, which were to too many utilities, too compacted. And so it was not feasible to relocate the PG&E utility lines from the project site, private property, into the public right-of-way in South Delaware. As such, the property owner was forced to create an easement with PG&E's approval. And that easement is basically to locate PG&E lines, which are servicing, these are electrical lines, which are servicing other existing users in the neighborhood. And so these are illustrating where those easements lines are and where those utilities lines are. And what you see here is the location of the 7 stoop stairs. PG&E's current regulation does not allow these stairs to be located within the easement area. And as you may recall from other news, PG&E regulations tend to, over time, become a little bit more restrictive due to safety reasons. And so this was something that was not, information that was not available and known to the applicant or to the city back in 2015 when the formal application was before the Planning Commission and the City Council. This information is included in the staff report packet, but just to show the difference between what was previously approved, which were these 7 stoop stairs, and what's being proposed tonight is the removal of those stoop stairs and instead the addition of new landscaping in those areas. From a street level perspective, again, these steps will be coming out. The balcony, the patios themselves will remain, and the architecture and everything else about the building itself will remain unchanged. And at a pedestrian scale, what you will see is substantially more landscaping at that level to provide visual interest at the pedestrian scale. So there's the motion, the staff recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the site plan and architectural review modification to remove the 7 stoop stairs and add new landscaping. If this is approved, the applicant will submit revised building permit plans to show the addition of landscaping in those areas. And that concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is available for questions, and so is staff.
Julia, would you introduce the commissioners to Deanna, please?
Yes.
And we can turn off this, this page.
Yes, let me go ahead and do that.
Thanks. Wonderful.
I want to go ahead and introduce the applicant, representative, Deanna. She is with Essex. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. I know it's a holiday week, so thank you very much for that. I'm Deanna Chalfant. I'm a Vice President of Development for Essex, and I have been involved in this project for the last 4 years. So knowledgeable about how far this project has come since 2011. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I think Julia did a nice job explaining our predicament, but rest assured we have done a lot of planning since the conduit / stoop stairs conflict to make sure that we're adding value, we're not taking anything away. And so we've been very diligent with our architectural team and our landscape team. So I'm here for the duration of the call and happy to answer any questions, concerns, or anything that may come up.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commissioners tonight for staff or the applicant?
Through the chair, to the applicant, Deanna, the stoop stairs were simply a convenience for those units, I assume?
That's correct. It was not mandatory that we had them from the get-go. And so, yeah, it was a convenience factor. And unfortunately, as Julia mentioned, the plan was never for that PG&E conduit to be where it is today. Site conditions, current site conditions, and when I say current, I mean within the last several years, forced us to bring that PG&E conduit into the private property therefore creating an easement, and at which time the RE4 plans had already been approved. And so we knew that when we went to go construct the building that we were going to have this conversation about eliminating the stairs, because frankly, PG&E, we just won't allow any structure to be built over an easement, let alone an actual conduit line. So yes, it was just for convenience, and it's only 7 of the 107 units that are in the RE4 building.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ramiro or Margaret, do either of you have questions?
I have questions.
Sorry. I have one quick question. It looks like the, I don't know if we call it a porch, off the living space of the units. It looks like they remain the same or close to it anyway, even though the stairs are being deleted. Is that correct?
That's correct. The patio size has not changed one bit. And the only difference that you will see is instead of the stairs coming out, it'll be a nice railing so that you don't invite people from Delaware into your private patio.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Ramiro?
I have no questions.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak to this topic?
No, there are no speakers at this time.
Okay, then we will close public comment and bring it back to the commission. If there are any comments that you all would like to make or any discussion, please speak up. Don't all speak at once. Okay.
Well, through the chair, I really like more landscaping, and quite frankly, those type of stoop stairs never look all that attractive to me. So thank you, PG&E, for once.
That worked out well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramiro or Margaret?
No.
Okay, then why don't we bring it around for a motion? Julia, can you pop that back up on the screen?
Sure. Before I do that, though, I wanted to mention for the record that we did receive a letter from the public, and that was forwarded to the Planning Commission on Friday. Did all the commissioners receive that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you guys see the recommendation?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So staff recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the site plan architectural review modification to remove the 7 stoop stairs and add new landscaping.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I can make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan and architectural review SPAR modification to remove the 7 stoop stairs and add new landscape.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mary, can we have a voice vote, please?
Yes. Chair Mallory,
Yes.
Vice Chair Maldonado,
Yes.
Commissioner Ebnetter,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Etheridge is excused.
Thank you. And that item passes 4-0. And we will bring it back around to Salish for reports and announcements.
Chair Mallory, nothing new to report that we haven't already covered, but
Okay.
we hope to see you next month.
Wonderful. And I do want to wish everyone on the commission and the staff and members of the public a very happy Thanksgiving. And
Thank
with
you.
that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.